Yes, since the rebirth of Israel, one commitment remained firm, profound, unshakable: the alliance between Israel and the United States of America.
I hope Israel flourishes. I just don't think it's worth an American life or an American dollar.
What we need is international law being recognized that Israel is an occupying power.
Israel, despite the fact it is a relatively rich country, receives more foreign aid than any other country in the world. We veto resolutions in the United Nations all the time that are critical of Israel.
Ceux qui sont contre.
For decades, law enforcement agencies have been pushing to have the pro-Israel lobby register as a foreign agent under the Foreign Agent Registration Act of 1938. Despite near success to register the pro-Israel lobby under the FARA Act during the Kennedy administration, all attempts afterward to regulate AIPAC have failed.
Republicans and Democrats voted AIPAC the most highly rated foreign policy advocacy group in the nation.
Al Jazeera found it difficult to interact with AIPAC supporters, but not because they were unwilling to talk. Do you believe in a two-state solution? We were told there was interviews. We could just have our camera up here. I got the same treatment when I tried to speak, not with AIPAC guests, but AIPAC panelists, like this man, America's former CPA spokesman in Iraq, himself a former AIPAC intern.
AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, declined our request for an interview. AIPAC has long been the pro-Israel lobby in the U.S., bolstered by support from Israel's government.
We shall not lose our nerves and strength and determination and courage.
There are many who argue that even the term Israel lobby conjures up an image of a Jewish conspiracy.
Well, AIPAC is the lobbying arm of the pro-Israel Jewish community and non-Jewish community in the United States.
It's about 100,000 members strong, this group.
The basic charge is that lobbies supporting Israel wield too much power, which results in the U.S. blindly supporting Israel even when it's wrong.
It would happen after they felt they had fairly good evidence to prove that there was, in fact, espionage-related activity taking place within it.
They've courted senators, presidential candidates, and cabinet officials.
You are the premier grassroots lobbying organization in the United States. You certainly have a powerful voice, a great leverage in the House and in the Senate with authorizing and appropriations committee, writing letters to the editor, meeting with key members of Congress.
The Washington Post is reporting prosecutors are considering dropping charges against two former pro-Israeli government lobbyists accused of violating the Espionage Act. Stephen Rosen and Keith Weissman, formerly of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or AIPAC, are accused of conspiring to obtain and disclose classified national defense information to journalists and the Israeli government. The review follows a series of court rulings that prosecutors say could hinder their prospects at winning a trial, including allowing the defense to use classified information and forcing the government to prove the accused knew they would be harming the United States. Prosecutors say the review has nothing to do with recent controversies surrounding Democratic Congressmember Jane Harman. It was revealed this week Harman was overheard on an NSA wiretap telling a suspected Israeli agent she would lobby for reducing the espionage charges in return for AIPAC support in her bid to chair the House Intelligence.
A federal judge in the United States has ruled that Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and some of Bush's top foreign policy advisors must testify about their conversations with pro-Israel lobbyists. The judge has argued that Rice and others have misused classified information by offering it to two Israeli lobbyists. The lobbyists are accused of receiving classified information from a now convicted Pentagon official and relaying it to an Israeli official and the press.
Most of the organizations listed with AIPAC have a considerably larger membership base and annual budget. So how is it that AIPAC, with 16% of the budget of the NRA and 0.2% the membership of AARP, continues to work so effectively on Capitol Hill.
The former director of foreign policy issues for the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee, Steve Rosen, has filed a $21 million civil lawsuit against his former employer, claiming the pro-Israel lobby defamed Mr. Rosen for what has long been common practice for AIPAC, obtaining and transferring classified U.S. government documents.
His whole lawsuit rests on proving that there was nothing particularly out of line for him to go and solicit and receive classified information, file it with the directors, circulate it within and without AIPAC to achieve the objectives of the lobby.
The August 24th SIR reply to AIPAC's motion to dismiss Mr. Rosen's claim reads, "Indeed, the complaint explains that Mr. Rosen's responsibilities at AIPAC involves routinely receiving information on foreign policy provided by the government which is not generally available to the wider public, and that AIPAC and its leadership, including the named defendants, were all aware of this aspect of his job and expected this of him." It further explains that Mr. Rosen was practically valued for this reason, and that other AIPAC officers and directors, including several named defendants, also engaged in this practice.
Mr. Galloway speaking with his customary good manners and unsullied integrity. I know he has many
We could always talk about your integrity. You've killed 1 million people in Iraq, so we could always talk about your integrity.
Just let's listen to David From's answer to your allegation.
Mr. Galloway, it's always the manners and the integrity that you're not sure of, and tonight we see the problem is going to be with the manners.
But these are two guerrilla organizations who are armed with Kalashnikovs, so it doesn't take much to arm them. Israel, on the other hand, is armed with 200 nuclear weapons, illegally held, undeclared, not subject to any treaty obligations, thundering on about a country which his own intelligence service says it doesn't have any nuclear weapons and isn't trying to get any. It becomes surreal.
It has provided us with a moral and strategic strengths, both of them.
Israel is not only, however, a friend and ally for us, it is a beacon of what democracy can and should mean.
I'm thanking you for the essential role in strengthening the shared values of policy between the United States and Israel. My people are grateful to the thousands of AIPAC supporters, from students and lay leaders to the leadership and professional team on the Capitol Hill. You are a treasure.
The other part is what Mr. Paul has said, is to stop intervening in their world except when it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Many say they have grown tired of the unconditional support of Israel by other pro-Israel organizations. Susan Edelman is from California.
Every time I attempted to raise any questions, you were either seen as an anti-Semite, anti-Israel, or a self-hating Jew.